Alright, the considerable penultimate or even final video today, and I'm pretty sure it won't be the final because if I keep up this addiction to YouTube success, not even YouTube success, but like addiction to like being a YouTuber at this point, like trying to actually like fall at what could be, well, I still think in a pretend in a indecisive way, but like what could potentially be another passion for me at this point again, if even ever at the first time or afterwards. So this video is. And I hope, again, this is not the last video. I mean, it could be, but if it isn't the last video of this session or this era or this day, then that's not be it. Today's video is about multitasking and how it builds discipline. So, it's actually been a nice experiment this time around to see how, this is a continuation of that apparently for me, but how actually going through a video and that was distracting. How going through a video and watching a video and then like immediately pulling from the video to go make a video of my own and doing that over and over and over consistently and then multitasking from there. How that kind of multitasking allowed me to build discipline. And the way I did that was in that particular strategy, the segmentation of that. The segmentation where like instead of doing everything at the same time, doing something at first and then switching to another task at the same time, or in between each other, having something running while I'm still doing something else actively while passively that's running. And so I did this segmentation strategy over and over and it actually worked out for me. So that's one way that multitasking can build discipline. Another way multitasking can build discipline is you simply just do something that's passive that has a direct influence to the thing you're doing. Because if it's indirect, if it's like music while you're video editing, it contradicts each other because music will pull away from the audio focus from your editing. And so if you do something like, say, this is actually a little bit more indirect, but if I actually were to like go sprinting outside, fitness wise, and then I come back to do claymation with my hands, then both my body, my feet, and my arms will be of their legs and the arms will be of their equilibrium because it won't be as hard to sit on my chair if I'm actually retired anyway. So I'll still have the energy through my arms to do things because I'll be invigorated from the fact that I exercise. So I'll feel good and I'll also have the arms to do work with anyways. So that's another way that can work. It can still be indirect or direct and all the same. I'm not sure how I arrange that phrasing, but you know, multitasking can and will build discipline if you allow it to be maybe I don't know. This doesn't have to be like working smarter, working hard, whatever the hell that is. But just have a way where if you make a task worthwhile, it doesn't have to be by itself. Especially if you're doing what I'm doing lately, and you're not. Something I'm learning lately is to not just do something and then leave it behind and be like, well, I mean, you're supposed to leave it behind to a positive extent, but like where you don't just focus on something after you finish doing it. You move on to the next task and you make sure that you have other things going on. So even if it's too qualitative instead of quantitative, quantitative instead of qualitative. You have something that's too many into too potent. But what you can do actually is that you can focus on the next task and go on to the next task and then have multiple seeds you planted as per the last video. Multiple things you've done at the same time and see where that goes. If you can have something else going on in your life over and over and over again, it doesn't have to burn you out, but this hasn't burned me out lately, so I might eat my words at that point, but you know, we'll see. But having the next thing to work on after you've done something is a good thing to happen to build, even if that's abused. But you have enough of things going on instead of focusing on the one thing you did. Even for a quality's sake, even for a potency's sake, it wouldn't have to be like that. So have multiple things going on, even if it compromises their quality. Believe me, that will work for you. Have a strategy where a segmentation strategy, if one of those strategies is that, where you can have something switch gears to something else after whether it's passive or active, and the other thing being active or somewhat passive, and then you have to segmentate that somehow so that you can switch gears and better more consistently, and now work in your favor. And then learning to discipline yourself by switching gears will allow multitasking to build that discipline. And then finally, the one I said in between, which was that you can have indirect or direct effects from multitasking if they happen to complement each other instead of being at an obstruction. So that's how I can say that. And that is how multitasking can build discipline.